Yo, what's up, family? It's your brother YT. Wake 'em up, back at it again with another video. Meltdowns over Medicaid and Medicare cuts. Both. Trump lied. He said he would not make these cuts. Come to find out, that was not the truth. Cuts are being made. People are being kicked off. Thumbs up the video, smash subscribe. Let's get into it.
In the dark of night, the Republicans added $500 billion in cuts to Medicare. Let me tell you, as someone who's just gone through this with my mother, Medicare is wildly underfunded. The benefits, even with the supplement my mother paid extra for, were horrible. She could barely get out of bed to use the restroom safely without falling, and they would only pay for someone to come over the house 1 hour a week. The only facilities that would actually take her for full-time care had multiple violations for elder care abuse, were disgustingly filthy, and smelled of urine in the lobby. Cutting Medicaid.
So this is what the elderly are left with. If y'all haven't been keeping up, many of them were kicked out of nursing homes. Now, like she said, her mother is back at home, meaning she needs a care provider to come to the house. They only come 1 hour per day. What's 1 hour gonna do? Therefore, she needs family to come to the house to take care of her. If they are to put her in a facility, it is only the lowest of the low, the worst of the worst. Those that have reports of abuse, those are the only ones that they could go to.
Medicare is an absolute horror show. It is absolutely cruel. You are talking about the elderly at the end of their life. It is already a horrible program that needs reform and more funding. And they, in the dark of night, added $500 billion worth of cuts. They are giving that money to the billionaires and to the wealthy in tax cuts. They don't care about any of us. They don't care if we go, and they don't care how horrible it is when we do.
This is the latest update, y'all. Share this video out so people are aware of what's going on, so they're aware of these changes.
So what are you and the rest of your colleagues trying to do right now to help save healthcare?
Well, thank you for the question. This is one of those where it's pretty clear where the two sides are. The Republicans made the cuts. So now Democrats, because we're getting to the end of the fiscal year here in Washington, we have a chance to fight back. It's a narrow chance, but we've got a chance. So we have said to the Republicans, we're willing to confirm a budget so the federal government stays open and is funded after September 30th. But you got to roll back some of those healthcare cuts. You've got to make sure. We're not asking for additional spending, and dang, you and I both know we actually need more help in the healthcare system, but we're not asking for that. We're just saying, please roll back the cuts in healthcare that are going to drive up costs for every family in this country. And that's what this fight is about, literally today.
So I'm an allergist out in the western suburbs of Chicago, and one of my practices in the southwest suburbs called Plainfield has a lot of patients that come from rural areas. Oftentimes they drive about anywhere between 1 to 3 hours to see me as an allergist.
Wow.
And that's going to become more and more of a problem with these cuts that aren't going to happen right away.
Yeah.
I looked at some of the estimates. There's going to be at least 300 rural hospitals closing over the next 5 to 10 years because of these cuts.
Hospitals will be closing down due to these cuts. People that live in rural areas, to go to a hospital, they're going to have to drive even further, and they already have to drive 1 to 3 hours in this specific area. For instance, on this scenario that he's discussing, with the cuts, it'll be even harder to find a hospital for these people. There will be less hospital workers, less healthcare providers, less care for the people that really need it, especially the elderly.
And one of the things that I noticed that you may have heard of is that HHS is claiming to put a $50 billion stimulus into rural healthcare, but that's not even offsetting the cuts that are actually happening, right? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So what happened is that a few months ago, the Republicans decided it starts over with billionaires. They wanted to give a bunch of tax cuts to billionaires, about $1 trillion worth, billionaires and multi-millionaires. And they needed to figure out something else in the budget to make that happen. So they're doing about $1 trillion worth of cuts in our healthcare system.
Wow, so there you have it. In order for the billionaires to get richer, they're doing $1 trillion in cuts to healthcare so that the tax cuts for billionaires can be about $1 trillion. So let's cut out healthcare so that the billionaires can get richer. This term is not about changes, y'all. This term is about the elite getting as rich as they can before their time is up. This is what it's about. The divide widening between rich and poor. Middle class being eradicated, left helpless with no options. The poor too, them especially.
And a big chunk of those cuts will come out of what is called nationally Medicaid, but it has different names everywhere you go in all different parts of the country. And this is the part that helps brand new babies get covered by health insurance. About half of all seniors who are in nursing homes are covered through Medicaid. Your neighbor who has to use a wheelchair or a home health aid, most often covered by Medicaid. And the Republicans just said, yeah, we're going to take that away. And right now, the estimate is just exactly as you said, hundreds of hospitals closing, particularly rural hospitals. And when they close, they don't just close for people who were on Medicaid, they close for everybody.
As rural hospitals close, these patients that come from far away are going to have to drive longer distances to find hospitals in suburbs and in cities, which will increase the wait time for everybody. Then the hospitals have to eat that cost. It gets passed on to the insurance companies, which will then jack up everybody's premiums. So healthcare costs will actually increase as a result of the government taking away a lot of this Medicaid funding that is really a safety net, and it, in effect, will not make us healthier. It's going to make us sicker as a result.
People will get sicker, costs will be higher to get care, waiting times will be even longer, and you know the waiting times are already long. They'll be even longer. It'll be hard to get an appointment, even harder than it may be for you now. The workload, let's talk about the workload for those that will be working inside these hospitals or these doctors' offices. They will be overworked and underpaid for sure. I could see a lot of them quitting more than they are now. Nobody wants to be burned out, especially if they're not paid for their hard work. It's not looking good. These changes are not looking good at all.
Result.
In fact, Dr. Rubin, you said it exactly right. The Medicaid cuts are actually scheduled to come in down the line, but the hospitals already see it. They're already changing their price structures because they've got to. I'm not mad at them. But the insurance companies see it coming because they realize if the charges go up at hospitals, they're going to charge more. So you know when the costs are going to start kicking in just the next few weeks.
Yeah, to me as a physician who takes care of red, blue, purple, whatever, it's a reasonable request to be able to help maintain our health in this country. So I appreciate your work in fighting for that.
Thank you. And I appreciate all you're doing. Really appreciate you're getting the word out to people. Now is the time for anybody who's listening to make that call, send that email, send that text, whether you're represented by a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. We are here to represent the people. We need to hear more from people. You have a chance if you raise your voice that maybe we can restore health care for millions of people.
When Donald Trump was running for office, he made a lot of promises. And one of the promises he made was that he would not cut Social Security. He made that promise over and over again on the campaign trail. But guess what? That was a lie.
When Donald Trump was running for president, he told a lot of lies. Everything he said he would not do, we're seeing was a lie. He's going to do it. He's working to do it so that he can get richer, so his family can get richer. Before he passed away, honestly. That's all he's trying to do, in my opinion. Make himself richer, make all of his colleagues richer, make the American people poor or poorer. This man is being used by the higher-ups to carry out their agenda, the 2030 agenda. That's what he's doing. He's rolling it out. He's acting like he's fighting against it, but he's actually putting it in place. The Great Reset is in full effect. He's the key figure to get it going, to roll it out completely. Nothing this man is doing is positive. Nothing this man is doing will change the country for the better or make America great. It'll make America worse.
And already he and the MAGA Republicans in Congress are already talking about cutting Social Security. And not just Social Security, but also Medicare and other entitlement programs. Now, I know that you MAGA cultists didn't think that you were voting to cut Social Security, but you were. Now, when the world's worst pathological liar, who's running for office essentially to stay out of prison as his primary reason for running, When someone that desperate and that much of a despicable liar makes a promise to you, the smart thing would be not to believe it. But you did.
So this video is for anybody who has Medicaid and Medicare. And I've already made a video about this on my spam page. But being that this used to be my main page, I really want to push this out to anybody that has Medicaid. Most importantly, Medicaid cuts are happening now. Whether it's affecting you now or it's going to affect you later,
Yep.
you need to act now.
Act
The
now,
requirements for a renewal for every 12 months is cut. It's now down to 6. If you don't update your information within a Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare office, any office where you need to update your information, especially Medicaid, you want to do that now. Because a lot of people are getting sent letters, and a lot of the times when I talk to the clients, because most importantly, I am a health insurance broker. I am a licensed insurance broker. Over 50 plus states, with majority of the major insurance companies that you all know. With that being said, the information that I am providing on this video is for anybody that has Medicare and Medicaid. And Medicaid is all across the nation, and it's for every individual, not just seniors. If you have Medicaid for your children, most importantly, if you get a renewal letter, and a lot of people do not read their mail. Letters that you get through the mail from your insurance company, letters that you get from the Department of Social Services, letters that you get from Social Security office, anything where it is federal government and you know you get an assistant, whether you get a bunch of spam mail, garbage mail, it's important to read that. It's important, most importantly, to update your information. When you get your evidence of coverage document, it's not sent out for no reason. It's majority of the time the reason why insurance companies do not be on your side majority of the time, because it's like there is no reason for them to send out that much paperwork and you not read the fine print. A lot of people assume that the fine print is just garbage. It's not. So, key factor, Medicaid is affecting people now. There's plenty of people who have lost their Medicaid within August 1st. You don't want to be the next one. So if you receive any letters from your insurance company about denials, terminations, or changes, call in. You have a health insurance advocator, an agent, you have a power of attorney. Anybody that is managing your health care decisions and needs need to act now.
Okay, so you need to call in. If you get a letter in the mail, you want to check that. You want to make sure you are checking your mail and opening those letters that they send out. Even if it's junk mail, make sure you open it. Okay, junk mail, throw that away. But if you get a letter saying you've been cut off, then you want to call in. Or if they say you need to update your information, or you know it's been past 6 months now, you need to update your information because it's no longer 1 year. Make sure you are updating your information so you can stay active on Medicaid or Medicare. Otherwise, you could be cut off. And you might receive a letter in the mail saying, hey, you've been cut off. You don't want that. Cuts start today. They start now. They've already started. Millions of people will be cut off just for not opening the mail, just for not doing that small step. And you know it'll be a hassle to get it cut back on. Who wants to go through having to make phone calls, waiting all day, wasting days, waiting for calls back, the whole nine, just to get back on it? So make sure you are doing your due diligence.
Those of you who are so for MAGA and all that stuff, I don't care for your opinion when it comes to this video. Whether you believe that these things were happening in 2026 and not happening now, when a bill gets passed, whether it's going to happen the next year or in a couple of days, weeks, months, it's going to happen. It's a domino effect. So what might not happen to you now will happen to you later.
That's the thing too. People be like, oh, this is really happening. Just because it didn't happen day one does not mean it won't happen. If they say it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If a bill is passed, that tells you everything you need to know. That bill was passed. It's going into effect. I don't care if it's 2 years later. Start preparing for when it does go into effect so you're not caught off guard. So you're not caught by surprise. Oh, they wasn't playing. That's the same thing with food stamps. People are saying, they wasn't playing. They're really doing food stamp cuts. You think they was lying? If it's passed, it's passed. It's going to happen.
So just because Billy Bob Joe, your neighbor across the country, whatever, lost their benefits, lost their coverage, doesn't mean that you're not going to be affected too. And the funny thing is, you won't even know that you lost it until your healthcare provider or anybody that's dealing with using your insurance contacts you and says, hey, we can't see you anymore. Or, hey, it looks like your Medicaid or your insurance is inactive. Because a lot of people use Medicaid as a secondary insurance. If you are having Medicaid benefits and you are under the age of 65 of Medicare requirements and eligibility, you either have a employer plan, which is your first, that is your main insurance coverage. Medicaid is literally secondary. So when it comes to Medicare, Medicare pays the 80% and the state pays the 20%. Therefore, whatever 20% that they're paying affects your copays, it affects your medication cost, and affects your deductibles. And most importantly, it affects your Medicare Part B premiums, because in 2024 it was $174.90. 2025 it's $185. Projected numbers are looking around the 200. It also affects those who use Medicaid for their children when you can't afford healthcare insurance through your employer or outside marketplace, because it provides assistance for the child. Therefore, it's going to cause a ripple effect. When kids don't have health insurance, it doesn't allow them to be able to enroll into school. Not being able to afford your child's immunizations, being afford to provide them with access to services, especially if they have a disability or mental health issue. So that's being affected. And then the funny thing is, those who voted for this are going to be the main ones having to take care of that parent that they put in that facility. And what people fail to realize or have realized is that a lot of these seniors that are getting kicked out of these facilities or going through these problems are going to, because these people don't care about them. Their loved ones don't care about them.
She just said a lot. Your kids might not be able to go to school if they don't have health insurance. You might have to take care of a loved one. That could affect your life greatly. You basically won't be able to live no more. You got to live for them, to take care of them. So that could be a hassle on you. Your whole life will have to be based around taking care of that loved one. Also, your premiums could go up if you're cut off. The overall cost that you pay out of pocket could go up. You don't want to get cut off and then you go to the doctors and you come to find out, hey, you don't have no coverage. You got to pay the full amount. See, that's been happening to people. They think it'll be covered. They get a bill, a second bill, a third bill, a fourth bill. They have to pay thousands of dollars out of pocket. That's not nothing that you want to wake up to, seeing that letter in the mail. Make sure you're checking for those letters in the mail saying update your information, moral of the story.
So Americans are bracing for the Medicaid cuts that are coming down the pike. Particularly, how can seniors start to prepare in the event they need Medicaid and they have pre-existing conditions and a complicated health history? One solution has always been irrevocable trust. Irrevocable trust can be set up in a way to make a senior Medicaid eligible. In a sense, the trust now owns the assets, and that senior could then go and apply to Medicaid and say, hi Medicaid, I want to apply for Medicaid so that I can receive long-term care and I don't have to pay out of pocket for the cost of my health care. And so I don't own anything, I don't own much, the trust owns all of this. Please now, can I apply for Medicaid? That's essentially how irrevocable trust is. Specific language in the irrevocable trust that puts the state on notice, the IRS on notice, that this is an irrevocable trust for Medicaid readiness. Another option also for seniors to think about, and families also, and this involves families coming together with an action plan, and that is relocating that senior abroad. Especially for seniors who don't have a lot of resources.
Or a lot of money. If you don't have a lot of resources or money, you might have to move out the country. You might have to go abroad just for the healthcare aspect of it, because it costs way less. There are many people that could not afford healthcare in America and they moved to Thailand, countries like that, to where they could pay out of pocket, and it's only, depending on what you're getting, you could be paying a couple $100, $50. Maybe if you're getting a major surgery, a couple thousand in comparison to $30,000-$40,000. Maybe something that will cost you $1,000, you're paying a couple hundred. You get my drift? People are doing that because they have to. Getting health insurance like Safety Wing when they do go abroad. That way they're only paying $40 per month for coverage for a just-in-case scenario, just in case something does happen. Safety Wing has emergency hospitalization, illness, or injury abroad coverage up to $250,000, $250,000 for anyone under the age of 65. Emergency dental up to $1,000. Emergency medical evacuation up to $100,000. Evacuation for political unrest up to $10,000. And they also cover lost baggage, delays, etc. Mind you, if you're abroad, then those costs for receiving care will be reduced. So that coverage will go a long way. It's time to get everything in order. We got to learn about setting up trusts. It's time to get in those books. It's time to contact lawyers. It's time to take these things serious. We have to be on our P's and Q's now.
But can't quite be Medicaid eligible. There's a sweet spot with Medicaid eligibility, and it is state specific. But say the senior doesn't quite own a lot, but is not impoverished. So it's in that middle area where they cannot qualify for Medicaid. So when I say this involves family planning, it does involve family planning because it would involve relocating that senior to another country in order to access health care. Because it's common knowledge that health care in other countries is considerably less expensive than health care in the United States because the United States relies on a profit-driven healthcare model. So specifically, Thailand has relatively inexpensive healthcare compared to the United States. And if that senior requires long-term care, then this is really a good option for you. We know in the United States, nursing homes can be upwards of $10,000 a month. And many people think Medicaid will cover that, especially if they have Medicaid. But that's becoming tricky as we see with the new changes that are coming down the pipe. It will become more difficult, and Medicaid is going to scrutinize some of the things that they have paid for in the past. They're going to be more stringent regarding what they pay for. So whereas Medicaid may have paid for certain services of a nursing home before, it may not in this case, in the future. So if we look at Thailand specifically, and you are a senior, or you anticipate that you will need long-term care and wondering who's going to take care of you, you can no longer look to the nursing homes in the United States because not only will Medicaid not cover, or you cannot qualify for Medicaid, but also a lot of nursing home facilities are shutting down because of lack of funding. So the option is to move abroad and facilitate nursing home care in another country. So there's several options for you if you're an able-bodied senior. There are in-home care that is offered for about $200 to $866 a month US dollars, and that's for a senior that still wants to remain home but still have the security of someone coming to take care of them. Assisted living facilities can be upwards of around $200 to $1,700 a month. Nursing homes, which are high quality care in beautiful, serene environments, can start at $288 and go upwards to about $3,000. In addition to these healthcare models, Thailand offers a culture that respects elders. And so there's 24-hour one-on-one care, and it's ideal conditions for individuals that require long-term care and cannot access it in the United States. So
Thailand sounded like a viable option. It sounded real good. And if you haven't noticed, there is an exodus of people going to Thailand, moving to Thailand due to it being inexpensive to live out there, healthcare being very affordable, them having great healthcare. Their healthcare system is good. It's not like certain countries where they don't know what they're doing, if you get what I'm saying. No, they're equipped to handle your needs. Like she said, they're very good. It's an elderly accepted country. I see more people going to Thailand. And if you've noticed, it's an influx of people going. Most people are moving there from America. That's like the number one location that people are going to right now, if you ask me, in my opinion.
Although this information is unconventional, it's a solution. So this is for a senior who's perhaps doesn't have a lot of means, like I mentioned earlier, but has Social Security and has a pension, and perhaps their take-home monthly income is around $3,000 to $4,000 a month.
Or less.
And you're wondering what the quality of care will look like as you age. So begin thinking about this as a solution. And another thing is, don't wait too long to make this solution, to make this choice, because you would like to have things in place that in the event you become incapacitated, that there is something that could catch you on the other side, rather than waiting for the politicians to get the act there together and that Medicaid's going to change and you're still going to need health care in the interim before policy is changed. So begin thinking about relocating to another country that has nursing home facilities so that you can retire in comfort. Even so, someone with relatively less means, like I mentioned, $3,000 to $4,000 a month in retirement benefits, can live rather comfortably in these countries because of the.
And you don't need 3,000 to 4,000. You could live over there on 2,000, especially if you live a frugal lifestyle. You're elderly, or just somebody that's not even elderly. If you're just somebody that you don't do much, you don't do a lot of clubbing, you don't go out like that, you don't eat out like that, or if you do eat out, because it is less expensive to eat out there than to cook, you're just living a normal, comfortable life, not doing a lot. A normal life, you could live good off of $2,000 per month. Some people even less than that, like $1,500 to $1,700, depending on the location that you are, what type of place you have, if you have a home, if you have an apartment. If you just live like you do pretty much in America, it's not like we going out every single weekend and just living an extravagant lifestyle. Most people are working, going back home, taking care of the family, or just if you're elderly and you're not working, you live on a pension, then you're living a normal life. You could live good over there off $2,000, $2,500 per month. If you make more, that's good. If you make anywhere between $1,500 on up, that's good too. Though it's not like you're gonna be living the best lifestyle. You might have to live a budget-friendly lifestyle, but you're living the same lifestyle right now in America more than likely. Okay, family, let me know what y'all think about these changes that are being made. Some options. Let's give you a recap. Either you're gonna have to get a trust set up. An irrevocable trust is a good option. Moving abroad is a better option. And if you plan on staying, you don't have no money to leave, then make sure you are updating your information. Hopefully you're not kicked off. I'm not saying that's going to save you from being kicked off, because we don't know what's going to happen at this point with this man. He's coming for everything. He's coming for all government benefits. He's coming for everything. Moral of the story, make sure you have a plan. Make sure you know where you stand. Thank you for watching, family. If you made it to the end, I appreciate you. Peace to my Hebrew fam. Shalom. I will catch y'all on the next one.